Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, and we return back to the Marvel Comics series of 1979 to continue our coverage through that. We are still in the omnibus, or the collection, the trade paperback, whatever, of the Marvel Star Wars series. This is Volume 2, Dark Encounters, right here. And so this is what we're going through. And we're covering 4 issues today, issues 31 through 34. The titles are called Return to Tatooine, Jawa Express, Saber Class, and Thunder in the Stars. And essentially, what this arc is Luke goes back to Tatooine and he meets Camie and Fixer, which Camie and Fixer are kind of interesting because they are actually from the deleted scenes from A New Hope. In fact, they were mentioned in the novelization of A New Hope, and they're also in the comic adaptation of A New Hope. And Fixer was kind of a I don't want to say a full-on bully, but he definitely picked on Luke. He gave Luke his fair share of issues. And in fact, I think there was like a children's book called Luke's Fate that had Fixer in it as kind of the arch rival or something. But anyways, Fixer and Camie are there, and so he bumps into them. And so they're kind of childhood friends of his. And we find that they actually got married. And while he's there, he bumps into Han and Chewie. And they find Omega Frost, and this is kind of a new bad guy. And Omega Frost is freezing people. It ends in space, in an asteroid field. Essentially, is kind of where it all ends up. So Luke tries to take out these fields on the asteroid, and it's actually able to stop Omega Frost. And then it leads up into the stories that we'll see in 1980. So this is an arc that I really do enjoy. This is Volume 2 just has a lot of good stuff in it. And it's one that I get a lot of excitement out of just by talking about it. So there are a lot of things that I like. For example, we get to revisit, Camie and Fixer, like I said. It is really, really interesting to see them because they actually believe this cover story of Luke's disappearance. You see people believe that Luke was in the home with his aunt and uncle when the stormtroopers came and blew it all up. And so they actually believe that Luke died in that. They didn't know that he left Tatooine. So it was kind of cool to see them and their reaction to that. So it is also kind of interesting too to see Luke's kind of sightseeing of Tatooine. It's kind of cool to see him come back. Now, granted, we hear him say, in A New Hope, that's okay, I'm never going to come back to this planet again. But we find that he goes back to Tatooine in the expanded universe, and Return of the Jedi. He goes back quite a few times. But it's just kind of that. It's just kind of cool. It's kind of like it's like your home pulling you back. You can't truly get away from it, which is kind of interesting. And it is cool to see kind of Luke come back and kind of reevaluating and reassessing these things now that he is much older. He's gone through a lot more adventures. He is, he's definitely, done a lot more. So it is, it's interesting, and it's really relatable. If you've left your home for a significant amount of time and then you come back and then you find that, oh, wow, things are definitely a little bit different. So that kind of thing right there is just really, really cool to see, and see see him react to that. And Luke being my favorite character in Star Wars also is another thing that, whenever it's kind of focused on Luke, I really am interested. So there really isn't too much to say about that. Again, I'm trying to keep spoilers to a minimum. I feel like in the last few episodes, I've been kind of giving away the whole plot, and I really don't want to do that here. But in closing, what do I think about the arc in here? I think I have it bookmarked right here. Of it in here, yes, of this arc, starting with issue 31 right here. Like I said, I really enjoyed this arc. It's a good story. It's not one of those cheesy, silly stories. I kind of dogged a little bit in the last episode with the newspaper strips, but this is a story that I think is really enjoyable. Isn't it an essential read for any Marvel reader? I don't think so, no. There really isn't anything too crazy in here. I do think that the Omega Frost parts are definitely essential because it does impact later stories. So I would say that, even though I'm not over the moon with this thing, I like it, but, I do think that it might be worth your time reading for Marvel readers. I do think it's definitely worth your time. But is it a story that, if you're just if you're new to the expanding universe and all that, if this is something you should check out? No, I wouldn't start with here. In fact, this would probably be, if you were new to the EU, I would say that this is something you can get to a lot later. But if you're reading through the Marvel series, I would say definitely. I think this is one that you should definitely give a chance and give a shot. It's definitely got some things in it. It's not like I said, it's not the amazing, blow your mind kind of story, but it does impact a few things, or not really impact, more so. It'll be referenced in later Marvel stories. So that is my 2 cents on it. Thank you so much for joining me today. That's all the time I have. And tune in next time where we'll continue on with our chronology of the EU in publication order. May the Force be with you.